like to introduce you to the Friedrich's Ataxia community members who will be sharing their thoughts and resources in our panel discussion. First, we have Chase Rankin. Chase joins us from Gastonia, North Carolina, where he acts as an MDA ambassador. Thank you so much, Chase. And a fun fact about Chase is that he is a writer. Next, we have Manan Panda, who is the parent of a child living with FA who has attended MDA summer camp. He joins us from Charlotte, North Carolina. Mr. Panda is inspired by how his son maintains his mental health while living with FA. Thank you both for joining us today, and I invite you both to turn on your cameras and we will jump right into the questions. Oh, it looks like we might be having some technical difficulties, so let's make sure that Mr. Panda can get on.
Sarah, I'm trying to start okay, now I can start my video.
Great, no worries. Thank you so much to both of you for being here today.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Good, thank you. All right, so we're going to jump right into the questions. If you want to answer, feel free. If not, you can definitely skip the question. Why is it important to include perspectives and experiences of people living with Friedreich's ataxia in healthcare decisions, the design of clinical trials, and the drug approval process?
So, Sarah, who has to answer the questions?
It's up to you if you'd like to go first.
Okay, or if Chase wants to answer, I'm okay with that.
You can go first if you want.
I can repeat the question as well if you need me to.
Mm-hmm.
So just why is it important to include perspectives and experiences of people living with Friedreich's ataxia in healthcare decisions, designs of clinical trials, and the drug approval process?
Okay, so I would say that the patients and families with Friedreich ataxia already have a lot of challenges. We are we are in very uncharted territory. Suddenly, we are thrown into a totally new world. And then, on one side, there are issues with the school, with the daily life, with the mobility, and so on. So, listening to the perspectives of the families, what would make their life easy? So, like a patient-centric approach rather than a healthcare-centric approach or a health provider-centric approach or a company centric approach. I think it should be a patient centric approach. How the life of patient can be made the easiest because they are undergoing already too many problems. So if we can do that, that is really important. And
absolutely, thank you.
Yeah.
Chase, would you like to answer this one?
Sure. So I just think that the patients, the families, they would have a keen understanding of some of the major problems, some of the major roadblocks that the FA patients are facing and that they need treated or that they need help with the most.
Yes, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. You know yourself the best, right? So moving on to our next question. What strategies have you found most effective for making sure that your voice, or Mr. Panda and your loved one's case, is heard and respected in healthcare conversations and decisions? So making sure that your voice is heard.
I would like Chase answers this one first. I took the first one, the last one first. So.
Okay. So I would say for me, the major thing for me is obviously I kind of have a speech impediment, and oftentimes I'm kind of, very apprehensive and nervous when confronting not confronting, but when I'm visiting with the doctor. And oftentimes I'll send them maybe a follow-up message afterwards, just kind of clarifying anything that needs to be clarified and really making sure that, everything is paid attention to and kind of mentioned to my doctor and that things like that are sort of like looked over and taken care of.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for your vulnerability there. And I think the extra documentation is a step that a lot of people find helpful to take. Would you like to go?
Yeah, so the one thing that I would like to mention is that it's super critical for the patient and the families that the companies who are producing or who are pursuing the drug therapies, genetic therapies, or whatever, whichever companies are working to resolve this disease, they are getting enough attention of the patients and the families also. So when I would say the best strategy is to collect numbers, to be in a big number in any country wherever you are, because when the companies see that there is a huge number of patients there, then they are more and more motivated to invest further into all kinds of therapies. So we personally, me myself, have created a kind of a small patient advocacy group for Friedreich ataxia back in the country where I used to live earlier than US. And it's like a WhatsApp group, simple group, but at least now we have a name and contacts for more than 50, 60 patients of FA, which in past were not there. And now whenever we want to approach any companies who are making drugs, we send them the whole list of, let us say, 60, 70, 80 patients. And this immediately attracts attention from the drug companies. So I would say numbers is very important strategy. Show them that you are there and in big numbers. That's when you get the attention from the medical fraternity as well as from the drug companies or genetic uh, companies.
Absolutely. Thank you for your advocacy for the community. And we were also talking earlier about the importance of community connection. Thank you both. Moving on to the next question. Chase, I know that you addressed this a little bit in the last question, so maybe you want to take this first. But what barriers have you faced in the healthcare system? If you have any others that you'd like to address, and how did you work through or overcome them?
Right. So I haven't faced too many overbearing sort of barriers in the healthcare system. Most of the barriers have kind of been from myself, for the most part, and kind of, my apprehension, kind of overall nervousness surrounding anything medical. So, my way around that is sort of to always be communicating with my providers and with the care team that I have, and always sending messages, and always keeping, a means of like constant communication between us.
That's great. I think a lot of people feel that nervousness in the medical um, situation. So I again appreciate you for being open and honest. Manan, would you like to take the next one or take this one?
Yeah, sure. So the biggest barrier which I saw, first barrier is that being a rare disease, people just or for, for, forget about the people. Even the doctors and even the neurologists don't know much about FA unless and until they have handled certain case. So the biggest barrier is the awareness of FA as a disease, even to a large portion in the medical fraternity is not there. And then let us say, even if it is there, then the next barrier is, of course, availability of treatment. There is no availability of the treatment available except one drug which is FDA approved in the US. So these are, and even the testing, which tests can you do? The genetic test, which can confirm FA, is also a barrier. So awareness about the disease, the testing to confirm the disease, and after it is confirmed, the medicine or a treatment to cure the disease. We have barriers at all the three places. And I'm just talking about the treatment, right? There are many other barriers from mobility point of view. In school, they don't have writers, for example, yeah, and such things. In transportation, many times it's not wheelchair accessible and so on. But due to all these things, like we were in one of the countries in Asia, actually, when we faced all these barriers around 4 years ago, when my son was diagnosed the first time. And as you asked in the question, how you overcome this barrier. So for us, it was important to come to a country where we can have at least some treatment. For example, omavaloxolone or the Skyclarys, which is the only one FDA approved drug, was there in the US. So we shifted our entire country, our entire life, and we went to one another country because from there we could get a visa to US. So we went from one country to another, stayed there for some time, took a visa for US, and from that country we came to US. So, and all along we had to find jobs and to be a legal non-immigrant and all that. So we had this kind of barriers to overcome, but nevertheless, even those who are in the US or wherever they are, the barriers more or less remain the same.
Thank you so much. That's amazing what you did for your son. And I really appreciate that both of you are coming into this conversation and being very open and honest with our audience about what it's like to live with or support someone who's living with Friedreich's ataxia. So the next question is, what advice might you give to someone who's newly diagnosed? Or Manan, in your case, a caregiver. What advice would you give to a caregiver?
If I have to give an advice to a caregiver, the first thing is acceptance of reality is not easy. It doesn't take hours or days, but it takes weeks to months to accept that you are going to face this kind of a challenge. It took us months and months, sleepless nights, loss of hair, whatever you call. You lose your own health when you see that your son or daughter or your near one is going through this kind of challenge. And when you learn more about it, it gets even more difficult. But the advice I would give is acceptance of the fact, to work on the solutions. I know we do not have too many solutions, but the best advice they are giving is to focus on exercise and mental health. I think these two are extremely important: physical exercise and maintaining the mental health.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Chase, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, so when I was first diagnosed, something that me and my family that we all struggled with was finding a place of community that we could sort of rely on. Because when I was first diagnosed, we didn't really know what the next big steps were. We were just sort of, you know, going from doctor to doctor, sort of on this big medical mystery. And then when we found out I had FA, we didn't really have any sort of, community to fall back on. So then shortly after that, I got in touch with the MDA. I found out about the MDA summer camps. I met some people through that. So I would say, just finding a group of people, forming a community with each other, that's a really easy way to, just gives you sort of peace of mind and better mental health surrounding the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a focus on mental health. And Chase, I'm happy that you found a community in your MDA camp family. For everyone in our audience, we have shared some opportunities to connect with others outside of MDA camp, and we will also share those resources when we wrap up here. Um, Probably just one or two more questions. What have you found are the best resources, whether that's organizations, people, information, that have been helpful to you or your loved one throughout your Friedreich's ataxia journey?
Uh, if I may answer, the website from FARA, FARA, that is the curefa.org, is the absolutely the best one-stop resource that we could find. They have a very good pipeline to show where all the treatments are, in what stages. They explain details of each and every drug. There are many nice short videos which explain the pathways and how FA happens, why it happens, and to whom it affects, and so on. To anybody, I would recommend first is to visit this website, curefa.org from FARA, Friedreich's Ataxia Research Alliance. And another is, of course, as Chase mentioned, to be connected to some kind of community. There are WhatsApp groups, I know. There is one at Europe level where we were earlier before coming to US. There is one at Germany level where actually we were there. So each country or each regions also have their own groups. There is also one email group at US through one person I know, and there are some 100 people or more in that group, and we get emails from there quite often. So it's important. So these are some of the resources.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing those resources. Chase, do you have anything to add?
Hmm. Yeah, so when I was first getting started on my journey with FA, the NDA, they wrote a really good resource to find out about, different medications as well as other types of ND that to learn about, and they were just really good for learning new things and kind of forming a community, like I said. And recently, a really good resource in North Carolina around the Charlotte area was a nonprofit called the Friends Foundation. They've done some incredible things for me and for other families who have children who have different types of ND, and they've just been really great. I really love being a part of that.
That's great. Thank you so much for bringing attention to that organization.
Could you please share the name of that organization?
Yeah, it's the Friends Foundation. I can
Friends
put in the
Foundation.
chat.
That'd
That
be
would be
great.
great.
Thank you so much, Chase. All right, we're going to wrap it up with one more question on a positive note. I want to ask what gives you hope right now, whether it's research, advocacy, or community support? What gives you hope in the Friedreich's ataxia community?
Chase, do you want to take this one?
Um, sure. So, something that gives me hope is just sort of, being grateful every day, just to wake up and face the day. Something that's really been helpful for me is like just different art forms. Like for me, I'm really into writing, so just exploring writing and getting in touch with different writers and just talking with my friends too. Things like that really make me hopeful and just grateful for just life in general.
No, I think that's important. Maintaining positivity, finding hobbies. What kind of writer are you, Chase? What do you write?
Well, I've written a few articles for the MDA for Quest magazine, because like ambassador blogs, and I've also written a few short stories for different magazines.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
right now I'm writing a sort of memoir about me and my journey with my disability and going to college and all that. So I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I look forward to reading it. Mr. Panda, do you want me to reread the question? It's just about what gives you hope in the community.
Yeah, one of the thing that gives so every FE patient or their family wait for is a cure. And nowadays with the new genetic therapies, especially like the CRISPR technology, by which you can do some gene editing, I'm seeing that there are few success cases happening in the world, not for FA but for some other diseases like Down syndrome or SMA or so on. And some drug companies and some other companies are working on gene therapies also. And there are other two or three companies which are in phase two trials and so on. So this gives me some hope that at least we can get some frataxin replacement therapy or gene therapy or more possibilities to manage FA, not only one drug but more. This gives me some hope.
Absolutely. And one of our speakers earlier, Dr. Lynch, also mentioned the possibilities um, as far as gene therapy goes. So there is hope for the future, and that's great to maintain a positive outlook. And I really appreciate both of you being here today. Your openness, the resources you shared, I think you offered a great perspective for our audience. So thank you so much for being here and for your involvement in MDA.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. And for everyone else in our audience, if you could hang on for just a few minutes, I am going to share a couple more resources that you'll be interested in. All right, so some terrific resources have been shared in the chat today. MDA offers the following resources related to Friedreich's ataxia. You can visit mda.org/community-ed to learn more about all of our programs and resources. We encourage you to explore all of them and send an email to our MDA Resource Center if you have any questions about any of the resources. We'd again like to recognize our sponsor for today's program, Biogen. We want to thank them for supporting these educational programs in the neuromuscular community. We hope that you will join us for upcoming programs. MDA's community education offers a variety of learning opportunities from webinars like today to print-ready resources and self-guided workshops. Here are just a few programs that we have coming up. Our next steps transition to adulthood is February 24th. And then we also have some webinars on daily living topics, which are making social connections, friendship, dating, and relationships, and palliative care, how to use it for daily support. So continue to check back and join our MDA community so you can be notified of these upcoming programs. We want to hear from you. What did you like about today's program and what can we do differently in the future? Please fill out a brief survey that will pop up right after this webinar if you are watching us live. Your feedback is important to us. If you have any questions or are looking for support or resources, please contact MDA's Resource Center at 1-833 275-6321 or via email at resourcecenter@mdausa.org. We'd again like to thank Dr. Kamdar, Dr. Lynch, and Dr. McCormick, and our panelists for sharing their time and expertise with us today. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.